There is no glory greater than the one gained in battle, may it be on day or night. Behold, when you hear the sound of axes clash on armor, and the earth shakes with might, it means that we Amazons are on the battlefield, a force no man can ever withstand. For Artemis we'll fight and die united, united strong to conquer the barbarian land.
Hello everyone, this is Conqueror speaking, and today I have a very great video for you. I want to introduce to you my favorite comic, Hothead Paisan, Homicidal Lesbian Terrorist, written by Diane DiMassa, intro by Sarah Schulman, and published by Giant Ass Publishing. Yes, that's really the name of the publisher. Back from 1991 to 1998. This comic was actually a series of many comics. I think it was 19 issues, and as I've said, it was released from 1991 to 1998, so it is from the 1990s. And this book actually is the ultimate version of the comic, printed in Italy. And this book was actually planned to be released already on the 30th January 2025. It was then, according to the website of my bookstore where I get my stuff, it was delayed to the 12th August 2025, and then it was delayed a second time until early September 2025, but then it came very fast. I was really waiting for this comic a long time, because I'm an author and I write stories for many years now about Amazons that are homosexual themselves. So, I actually collect stuff like that that has some kind of references, or where I believe that this comic has references. And due to the fact that you see already the cover picture, and I have read some introductions about Hothead Paisan. She is actually, a very wild type and very violent, it says. So I thought I just need to have this comic, when I really waited a long time. The comic, again, is from the 1990s. It therefore has a lot of references from the 90s time, but it is actually still valid today. And, we live in a very crazy world. With many crazy people and all. So, that's why I believe that this comic is still vital to read today. And it hasn't lost anything of its charm, according to my perspective. Back then, obviously, I didn't know anything about this comic, because in the 90s I was just a child and I was reading Smurf magazines and not not something like this. As far as I know, those comics were never issued in Germany before, my country, because I guess they were only published in the US and maybe Canada, but I've never seen them here. So when I got it in September last year, finally, this was the first time that I have read this comic. Just for the record, today is the 29th March 2026. I've prepared this video for a long time, and now I have finally decided to make it. So I'm talking too much again. So I just want to show you my favorite parts of this comic. At first, this is a little introduction. I won't read this now all or something. I just want to show you the style of the comic. As you can see, it's quite crazy. It doesn't really have any kind of story, that is, this, for example, the second issue is not connected to the first issue and so on, because it's just what Diane DiMassa just thought to write and draw. Of course, she was drawing this here, getting a page earlier. This is actually this is Diane DiMassa, by the way, from the time. It says, it's Diane DiMassa from 1994. She looked cool back then, eh? Yeah, she did. I don't know how she looks today. Okay, I have no. This book only has pictures of her from this time, and the latest were from the early 2000s. But yeah, this is her back then from when she made this comic series. Yeah, I have to do this with one hand because obviously I'm holding my phone with the other hand. So yeah, this is the cover of the first issue that came out in 1991. By the way, this Giant Ass Publishing was actually founded by Diane DiMassa herself, and I think a girlfriend of hers from the time. And yeah, so this is the first issue, and she herself, I think, had no idea that this character would actually go on for so long. I just want to show you the style, the style, how she drew Hothead Paisan back then. I can't draw at all. Later I show you some of my horribly drawn copies of Hothead Paisan because I normally cannot draw at all, but I try to copy the style. But the style in the first issue is very different compared to later issues. For example, here, this is already very different. And again, I just want to show you some of my favorite scenes. It's actually a long list, so I better get started now. This is a friend of hers. Her name is Ross, and she's obviously also an Amazon sister. Later, I will explain what I mean with that, with the term Amazon sister. We're getting to that. And she's blind, but she is a loyal friend to Hothead Paisan, and she always tries to get Hothead Paisan away from her crazy ways. And here she says, come on, I'll make you some chickpea soup and a zucchini burrito. And then Hothead Paisan says, I want a cheeseburger. And then what? Oh, Christ, that was a mistake. And then this cow said, fuck you too, asshole. Yeah, I really like this. This is actually the jokes that you have to be ready for when you read this comic series. And again, yes, you can hear from my voice, I'm obviously a male, and yes, I'm straight, but I still love this comic series to death. I've had no idea that I would like this comic so much. I just bought it, just for interest, and I had no idea how excellent it actually is, and it's still vital for today's time. You also have Hothead Paisan here in a bathrobe, which is already, show this, she was taking a bath and then she had to be in this bathrobe. And then Diane DiMassa, sometimes she jokes about herself and about her own comic, because she then says, excuse me, Hothead, but if I have to draw that fucking bathrobe one more time, I'm gonna lose it. Would you please put this t-shirt on? Hothead Paisan asks, what if I don't want to? And well, guess what? She has no other choice. Otherwise, she will be missing. She will be gone then. Now, we're going a little further. Again, this is just a quick overview. I just want to show you my favorite parts. So I know I'm going quick here, but I do not want to be this video 2 hours long. So this is actually from the cover. Actually, they wanted to use a different, or Diane DiMassa wanted to use a different cover for the book first, but this is the one that she has chosen then. This is when Hothead Paisan is on the way to a beach where there are only homosexual people or queer people allowed to be. And, she is meeting some crazy guys that obviously, harass her. But, Hothead Paisan has a quick answer for that. Yeah. So this is what you can expect from the comic. And, Diane DiMassa has stated in an interview that is at the end of this book that, it was a crazy time for her, and she was on rehab because of an alcohol addiction, I think. So yeah, that is why she was able to draw this crazy. And here's a reference. She also has a cat, and the cat always calls her mom. And this is actually one of the very references to the Amazons because she calls her Amazon Kitty, or she says Amazon Kitty returns. This is the only time where the Amazons are actually mentioned, which to me is actually a hint by Diane DiMassa that even maybe she believes that the Amazons were actually homosexuals because they were an all-female warrior race. You know, I believe that. I write stories about that. So yeah, and that is why I was actually interested in this comic, because otherwise I would maybe likely not have bought it at all. And I was so amazed then and I'm so happy that I did, because I was so amazed about this comic and its style. It also gets a bit deeper later. Now I just have to find the right page, because I've made a list of pages. For example, here she also has a talking lamp. Yeah, a talking lamp. Yeah, it's true. This lamp can talk. And this lamp then gives Hothead Paisan, for example, an option. What about religion? Do you want to believe in this? And Hothead Paisan says nightmares. So she doesn't like Christianity, it seems. And at first I thought, is this an anti-Christian comic? Because I'm a Huguenot, and even though I support all of this stuff here, I still, when it comes to faith, I'm very strict. I do not want anyone to make fun of my Christian beliefs, just as I would never make fun of your own beliefs. You can believe whatever you like. But later, we will get to this later, we will see that this was not meant to be anti-Christian at all, because, Hothead Paisan is obviously a bit strange and different, because she gets mad so easily. And you can see this on page 74, because here she is in a bus. It's cold, it's winter, or it's raining, and these guys are talking all kinds of nonsense, and then she just turns around and shoots them and splatters their blood among the window. And the other people, very realistic, the other people just they don't care. I guess all of us sometimes wish to do this. I mean, there are always people that annoy you, and maybe sometimes you have those comparable thoughts that you would love to do something like this. Of course, in real life, she would probably get arrested for a double murder, first degree murder or something. Or second degree at least, because she was provoked by these two men. But yeah, this is something that we sometimes would love to do. But the series already back then received a lot of critiques. It was even banned in Canada for quite a while. I do not know if it was banned anywhere else, but it was banned in Canada back then in the 90s. But the funny thing is that Diane DiMassa here takes one scene. I'm now on pages 92 and 93. This is also, she drew an Amazon sister who, looks very, I don't know, very cliche-like, just as her partner, her girlfriend or wife, Mary Lou. And, she doesn't like this violence. And then she decides to call Diane DiMassa herself. And then Diane DiMassa gives her a little lecture. And she says, at first this girl says, we as women must set an example and act in a peaceful, non-violent way, goddammit. But then Diane DiMassa actually explains what this comic is all about. She says, Hothead doesn't know that. She's busted out on too much TV. No, blitzed out. She's blitzed out on too much TV. The whole thing is a satire on how manipulative the media is. Didn't you read issue number 1, Fran? And then she confronts her with her hate towards her Uncle George, and that she also would like to do the same. And then she's finally convinced, and orders herself a subscription. And yeah, and I could go on like this always. We're going to a psychologist now. This is where Ross actually invites a psychologist to her home or to Hothead's home, I don't know. But there's a psychologist, and this psychologist tries to understand Hothead Paisan, and tries to figure out what kind of mental problems she may have. But in the end, even she is overwhelmed and doesn't understand Hothead Paisan at all. And I like this scene very much because I do not want to go into detail, but I personally believe that psychologists and also psychiatrists are just actually not needed at all, because actually who can look into a human soul or into a human mind? Nobody can do that. We're not gods. So this scene also hit me a lot. And it's funny, but it's also, if you think about it, it's also very deep, because I've had to deal with a psychologist many years ago, and I can only think the same. Psychologists, they do not really understand you. I mean, they try to put you into different cupboards depending on what they believe that you have, kind of a mental illness. But actually, to me, it was already nonsense back then. And I'm so happy that Diane DiMassa actually believes the same. Or at least that's how I interpret her comic. So, now getting a little further. This is very nice. She, of course, she likes her character, Hothead Paisan, and the way she draws her and all. But look at that. Hothead Paisan says here, oh, good, a little nut. And then this little nut says, oh, no, a big nut. So the comic doesn't take itself seriously, which is very good. I think it would be wrong if Hothead Paisan would be pictured in a way that she is the good and the rest of the world is evil. She's the main character, but she's just a crazy one. And she's acting out in ways that we in public, at least cannot, because if we would act out like Hothead Paisan in public, we either end up in jail or in a mental asylum, I think. So yeah. And sometimes, of course, we would wish to do that. Remember, this comic is from the 1990s, so it has a lot of references from the 1990s, like those skinheads and other white power people that were running around back then in those heavy black boots and all, and with those jackets and all. It was the standard back then. It was very common. Also here in my city, Berlin, Germany, you were able to see them. And, Hothead Paisan here just, evaporates them, or not evaporates, and sets them into flames just by her sheer willpower. This is also Diane DiMassa's way, I guess, of, coping with this world, with the crazy world back then in the 90s. And, and I think this is also what we would like to do to some people, perhaps, sometimes. This is very good. And now we're going a big step forward. Hothead Paisan also has a conscience that always tries to get some stuff into Hothead Paisan's mind. When she appears, she only appears rarely in this comic series. But then, of course, comes the evil conscience, and then Hothead Paisan is quickly turned around and and changes to her old style and doesn't listen to her good conscience anymore, and I just love it. And then she jumps into the world, and then the story continues. Now we're going to the pages 175 to 179. That's not far away. She has a girlfriend here, but the problem for Hothead Paisan is that she is so crazy, actually, that even her girlfriend, who actually is bisexual, it seems, because she's also going out with men and not just with Hothead Paisan. And Hothead Paisan is not that open-minded, actually, because here she says, well, excuse me, it's just that I prefer the women I sleep with to be gay. And, and she's saying it in a way that her girlfriend, or supposed to be girlfriend, is becoming quite angry with her. and it continues that they part from each other, and she's never to be seen again. Even Hothead Paisan, she shoots at some crazy guys again, that harass her girlfriend or maybe ex-girlfriend, and still that is too much for her girlfriend to live with, and so she leaves her, and there's nothing Hothead Paisan can do, because her crazy ways are just too crazy, even for her girlfriend. Here's where she leaves, and she will never be seen again in the comic series. So yeah, this is also very good. Then we have a funny scene that I also want to show you. Wait a sec. Yeah, this one. This is actually a very good one, where Hothead Paisan goes into a coffee shop, gets herself a double liquid dynamite, and well, she drinks it. Woo, that hit the spot. But then, put the book a bit. So, then suddenly, well, she feels a huge urge coming up, and I gotta find the bathroom quick. And then she finds a courthouse, rushes into the courthouse, gets into the lavatory before it's too late. And then actually this is the start of a longer story, which in the end turns out quite violent, where she sees 3 guys that raped a woman, but these guys do not receive any penalty from the judge. Instead, they were given freedom. But, Hothead Paisan will take care of them later. But this is going too far now, and I'm not sure if, actually the violence, it's just comic violence. As you can see, the comics are only in black and white. So, it's not really violent to me. But I guess for the time it was. But I still am not sure if I can show you this on YouTube, because I want this video to be published. So I won't be showing you this, and just because I'm not sure of that, and have to go a bit further, pages 238 to 239. As you can see here, there is a scene, and this is not the only scene, of a moon goddess. So I've always believed at first, when I was at this part of the comic, when I've read it for the first time, that Hothead Paisan is probably a pagan of some sort, because she denied Jesus, and at the same time she's believing into such a moon goddess. I just want to show you this now, because we're getting into this a little later. I want to show you this because I believe that this may be, I've said before that Amazon Kitty is the only reference to Amazons, but maybe there is another reference to the Amazons that gained my my eyes, my how to say, I forgot it, but you know what I mean. It gained my attention. Yes, sorry, it gained my attention. She wanted to hide in a room because she had enough of the world, and she said she will not get out. And then she says, "You couldn't bribe me with a babe in shining armor." And I wonder if this is maybe a silent reference to the Amazons, because, in ancient Greek mythology and art, the Amazons are always shown as to be very beautiful and young. And maybe this is a reference. But Hothead Paisan actually gets out because her cat, her beloved cat, is... which she actually calls Turkey. Yes, she really calls her cat Turkey. She is asking, Mom, where are you? Mom, can you feed me? I'm hungry. And, this is too much. Her love for her cat Turkey is greater than her own isolation from the world. And I think this is a very cute scene. After this possible reference towards the Amazons, perhaps babe in shining armor, maybe not. Now comes a funnier scene that I love. In this scene, Hothead Paisan is here, trying to reflecting on the past year by burning it. And the problem is, she then, gets a phone call by Ross, and at the same time, the fire starts to burn, and she asks Ross to put that out, and at the same time, she tries to make sure that Ross doesn't notice anything that Hothead Paisan is in trouble right now, and Chicken then has to take out the fire. She tries to throw her coffee. She loves to drink a lot of coffee. That's also why she is so crazy. And yeah, and be careful with that. Chicken's using the coffee pot to water her plants, but actually she wants to put the fire out. And yeah, this is also awesome, and then she has to get out in the cold to get something for Ross. And this is very funny, because here Diane DiMassa, as you maybe have already noticed, is taking a lot of attention to detail, even in the background. It's a huge winter, and this just reminds me of this winter that we've had in Berlin in early 2026, where there was extreme chaos because of the politics and organization and all, and we've had lots of ice, and we couldn't get the ice away, and people were slipping. It was like this. You see this guy here with this pickaxe trying to get up a snow mountain while another guy is slipping, and and Hothead Paisan obviously has also trouble of getting forward, and cars are slipping and all. It's so funny. I was laughing a lot, and by the way, now comes a scene where I have been laughing for several minutes when I have seen this for the first time. Hothead Paisan wants to buy a face, this hat, and she wants to buy not one for herself, but for Chicken, for her cat. And she asks for a small size, and the seller says, well, this is the small size, but she says it's too big. My friend has a really, really little head, like a tennis ball. And then he gives her a face model that he normally uses as a display, and she says, it's perfect, I take it. And then the seller thinks that this guy that Hothead Paisan maybe wants to give this face to must have a massive body, but with a very, very, very small head. And I was laughing so bad at this. Diane DiMassa really doesn't take herself seriously, or this comic seriously, and it's just awesome. I was laughing for plenty of minutes, and I better continue before I fall into a laughing parade again. She also doesn't take herself seriously, because, as you can see here, Hothead Paisan is having a dream after Chicken finally got its face. And, she's hiding from those planes that try to attack her in a storm. And then she suddenly finds her new girlfriend, Daphne, which is playing quite an important part later in the story. And where the comics also sometimes have references to previous comics, so they have a little story that goes for longer than just one comic sometimes, despite what I've said in the beginning of this video. And as you can see here, she wants to kiss. She dreams of sharing a kiss with her, and then suddenly, she is taken out of her dream because the phone is ringing, and she screams, "Damn!" And then Diane DiMassa writes, "Ah, fuck, can't even have a wet dream around here. Mommy is very sorry." Yeah, I really enjoyed this scene as well. What's more important, just a little thing. Hothead Paisan is actually having a middle name, which she doesn't really like, and her talking lamp is reminding her of this. Do your friends know that your middle name is Camille? So actually her real name is Hothead Camille Paisan. That's actually her name, Hothead Camille Paisan. So not just Hothead Paisan, but Hothead Camille Paisan. And yeah, I think this is just a small thing, but you probably should know if you don't know this comic yet. Here is the most important scene with her new friend or girlfriend Daphne in a cinema. They're sitting at the cinema, and in today's day and age, I think cinema is dying because most people do not go to cinemas anymore because you are stuck in there with a bunch of people that you do not know that crunch on popcorn all the time, and you can hardly understand a thing. And then, of course, you probably know this. This is what maybe did happen to all of us already. You're sitting in your chair, and then here comes fucking Godzilla, and he's gonna sit right in front of me. Watch. And of course, and yeah, this is it for Hothead Paisan. You think so, but somehow we do not know where she has this from. But somehow she reminds me of the Doom series, the video games. And she takes out a chainsaw. And don't ask me where she had this thing. It was suddenly just there because, hey, it's just a comic, everything can happen. And so, and that was it, This guy is turned into two halves. And now she can watch the movie again. But of course, the movie is something, well, yeah, it's a reference to movies that are definitely made for heterosexual people. But yeah, I like this scene very much. I wonder actually if those movies are from the 90s. The comic series is from the 90s. So I wonder actually if Diane DiMassa, despite drawing all these pictures, I mean, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pictures in this huge edition. I mean, you can see how big it actually is. I really wonder if Hothead Paisan, when Diane DiMassa drew it, if she actually played Doom, if she played video games. I wonder about that. And I really wonder if she played Doom, because I still do sometimes. And, slicing someone that really annoys you with a chainsaw, I do not want to sound violent, but haven't we all had thoughts like this before? Because, with Hothead Paisan's help, we can live these thoughts, at least in a comic. And this is very good. And then, of course, you also have the guy that stomps into your chair, who's sitting right behind you. Not just the guy in front of you is a problem, but also the guy behind you. And of course, we also would love to dream about just shooting the guy. Bam, bam, and that's it, and then he's splattered, and that's it, I guess we all would love to do this sometimes. Now, to my most important part of this entire comic series, and this is a tough one now. This is actually not a funny one, but I didn't want to keep this one out. You find it on page 347. Let's turn to page 346 first. She thinks of some white men that are, using some foul words, talking about, of course, about queer people, and also about foreigners, immigrants and stuff like that. Hothead Paisan is so much messed up with that she can't take it anymore. And guess what? Here, this is for me the most vital scene. Hey God, do I get extra credit for not committing suicide? Then you have this. And then this is also very important. Every day I convince myself with some rhetoric by me, for me, that life is worth living, that I'm somehow powerful, but it's bullshit. My existence is a crapshoot. Maybe I oughta just commit suicide. It's better than them getting me. Guess what? Everybody of you who is watching this video, I will get later into this when I show you my drawings. This was for me the most vital scene at the time, when I have read this comic first in September 2025, so half a year ago now. Because back then, I was having, I'm struggling with depressions and suicidal thoughts since about 2004. And guess what? Actually, I wanted to commit suicide on 21st November 2025. I even went to the place where I wanted to commit suicide. It was in Tiergarten of Berlin, not far behind the Brandenburg Gate, at my most beloved place in all of Berlin. And if you know the Tiergarten and if you know my website, you can guess where that place is. I won't tell you this here, but I really wanted to end it. But it was so cold. It was 0 degrees and everything was freezing. So I just couldn't do it because it was just too cold. Otherwise, I likely would have done it. Really. I'm serious. And, this scene really got me. This is really the most serious scene in the entire comic. The comic is, of course, fun. It's anarchy and it's queer and everything. And it's made by an Amazon sister for Amazon sisters. But even I, as a heterosexual male, really do enjoy it. Perhaps because I love to write about homosexual Amazons in my stories. But, the interesting thing is, we have seen before that Hothead Paisan is actually, at first she was rejecting Christianity and Jesus. And therefore also God, because of course Jesus was a prophet, but God is God. And now in her darkest hour, in her darkest moment, she turns to God and asks him if she does get extra credit for not committing suicide because she has enough. Yeah, it's, I'm really serious. I'm not playing this, I'm really, really serious about this because back then it really got me. And still when I just look at it and when I read it, it still hits me because, I'm not off from my suicidal thoughts and all, but, this will be a topic for another video. What I just want to show you, it continues, of course, and then after a while, Hothead Paisan decides to finally do it. She wants to jump off a building and smash her head into it all the way. Or I read it to you. I wonder if I jump off a building and smash my head into it all the way down, will it feel better? Yeah. But then on her way to the building over there, this skyscraper, this tall building, she meets her blind friend Ross. She calls herself Mourn of Arc. This is what Hothead Paisan is being called by Ross. And got a minute for an old friend before you go? You remember me, don't you? We used to play a little game together. It was called Trust. I was so honored because you only played it with me. It's what made it worth your constant chaos. You're difficult and I never got really angry at you. But I'm angry at you now. Here you are fixing to just go like that. And you didn't even think of me once. I thought I was a big deal in your life. You showed me. You take my heart with you and you leave your pain in its place. That's not fair, Hothead. That's not what I deserved. And yeah, this is what made Hothead go really crazy and desperate. Ross will stay being her friend. She will continue being her friend. And, then Hothead Paisan is taken out by her talking lamp again. And then she's just thrown into a bed where she sleeps now with Chicken, the cat, Ross, and Daphne at her side. So they still care about her, This is something that I actually miss in our real world. If you have suicidal thoughts, if you have depressions, normally people do not want to talk with you about it because they always feel uneasy when they talk with you about it. And often you even lose friends in the process if you want to speak with them about it. This happened to me. I admit I do not have any friends in real life, but I have friends online, mostly from China. And now as I've started to learn Japanese, also I have made a Japanese friend and all. And you know what, during the past years, I have also lost some good friends just because they couldn't cope with me any longer, with my thoughts, with my depression, suicidal thoughts, with my constant mood swings. So yeah, so this scene was very vital to me. What often helps me personally is writing not just my stories, but also into a diary. And here Hothead Paisan, when she's together with all of her friends and her cat Chicken, she's receiving a little present, and guess what? A diary with the locking thing and the two little keys. I had one of these once. And then she remembers how she was sitting there, as a teenager, young Hothead Paisan, and just writing into a diary whatever she wants, creating her own worlds with that. And this is what I'm doing too since late 2015, and normally I do this almost every day. Normally I do this daily. Sometimes I do not have the time, for example when I have my Japanese classes and stuff, but normally I try to do this every day. And yeah, so this is also a vital scene for me. And now we're almost finished, at least when it comes to this. Page 424 is the final page, where Hothead Paisan, or let's go a bit further, where Hothead Paisan is with her friend Ross and her cat Chicken in her own home. And Ross finally tries to change Hothead Paisan, and she wants to pick up Hothead, and Chicken's job, who can even be on the phone with Ross, Chicken's job is to take care of her owner and do not watch her move away. And then Ross is there, awakes Chicken, and then they want to awake Hothead. But guess what? Hothead fooled them, And yeah. Well, we almost had her. I really thought it might happen for a while there. But then you see Hothead was actually in the kitchen, sleeping in the cupboard or shelf. And she's just activating her beloved coffee machine, because we know she loves to drink coffee. And then she says, maybe next time. The end. Yeah, I can't believe it, but this is really the end. It all happens so suddenly. And we will see later in this video, because I will now have to switch to my computer at first, and then I return later with my phone, why this is actually the end, why it's just suddenly stopped so abruptly after all those pages. Remember, those were once issued in numerous comics, in 19 comics, and of course some spin-offs, some extra comics, but why does it stop here? We'll get to this later, when I will return with more, because then we will take a look at the interview with Diane DiMassa, at least just at the final part of the interview. But at first, let me show you something that I have made when I have tried to copy Hothead Paisan, by showing you my very horribly drawn copies, and for that I need my computer. Now let's take a look at my really horribly drawn copies of Hothead Paisan, the Homicidal Lesbian Terrorist. Just that you can laugh at them, because they are really bad. I think some maybe not so bad according to my personal taste, but most of them unfortunately are. So this is just to show you, because I normally cannot draw. As I've said before, I'm an author and I love to write stories. I can write very much any day, but when it comes to drawing, I don't think that God really gave me the strength to do that. But with the help of Hothead Paisan, I tried to become better at this. So we're starting. My first miserable try is from page 68. Of course, this is the original from the comic. I show you at first the original and then my copy. So yeah, this is Hothead Paisan actually asking God, how come bad shit happens? Why didn't you kill Hitler? Why didn't you do something? Why didn't you help the slaves or the Indians and everyone else that got massacred by white dickhole scumbags? What's your job anyway? you may think that this is another reference to, or negative reference or criticism towards Christianity and Christian beliefs. But, you know, in the interview at the end of the book, Diane DiMassa actually explains that Hothead Paisan just cannot see the reality because, we as humans, we just see our own lives and our own parts, but God sees everything. I mean, even Diane DiMassa said that. So we, of course, we just see what we see, and we do not see the actual reason why things happen this way and why it seems that God doesn't do anything. There's a deeper reason behind that, even for the author Diane DiMassa herself. But this is not what I want to show you. I want to show you this. Yeah, I've tried it 2 times, and 2 times I'm really sorry. Yes, you can laugh. Yes, you can hate me for that. But seriously, yeah. What can I say? The first one up here, with these, I've tried to, draw the chin a bit more and make it a bit darker, but in the end, it looks like Lincoln. Of course, I do not want to insult Abraham Lincoln. But yeah. Yeah, this was my first try, okay? Nothing special, nothing good. It's just awful. This one was not based on any copy. It was or not on any original by Diane DiMassa. I just tried to draw it myself. But yeah. I don't even think that this head looks really female. It looks more like male, even from a comic version. I tried to give her a nose ring and stuff, but try to make her cool by writing Amazon on her shirt, but still nothing to be talked about, right? Okay, let's continue. This is where I'm already getting a bit better, just a little bit better. This is where Hothead is at the beach together with a cat Chicken. And this is the result. Of course, I've decided to just draw Hothead and not the cat herself, Chicken. So, she's not carrying her on her arm. It's just Hothead Paisan, and she's happy. And yeah, I think the sunglasses are a bit smaller than in the original. Let's switch back. Yeah, they should be more narrow towards each other, right? Yeah, but let's call it my own interpretation. But still, yeah, the ears are maybe a bit too much coming out, so yeah, they are maybe too large and all. And to tell you the truth, I have big trouble of drawing Hothead Paisan's hair. I still try to figure out how Diane DiMassa did that. So Diane DiMassa, in case you see that, I'm sure you won't, but if you should see this video, please leave me a comment. How did you actually drew the hair of Hothead Paisan? Because to this day I didn't figure it out how to draw the hair. But as you can see, my Hothead Paisan version is not good at all. I'm still training, but it sucks. Yeah, this one is, and now I'm serious, this is really a good one of mine. Not this one, of course, this is the original. This, I'm not your fucking spritz head girlfriend, I'm Hothead Paisan. You know who said this already? This was not Diane DiMassa's idea, but in the interview, this is what I have forgotten to tell you already. She pointed that out, that this was actually the words of her girlfriend from back in the time in the 90s when she drew Hothead Paisan, and she thought that this sentence is so cool, the statement, that she wants to embed this into the comic itself, and that's what she did. Yeah, this is my version. I've started a bit too much upwards, so the hair is maybe not that good. The sunglasses, once again, are way too small. But I drew Chicken this time, and I also didn't forget the Christian cross. This is very interesting. Despite the fact that Hothead Paisan is actually against Christianity, so it seems in the beginning, she is having a Christian cross hanging at the front of her car, from her front window. So it seems like even she wants to get connected to God, just in case, So you cannot really call her a disbeliever or pagan or atheist, even though I thought that she may be a pagan, in reference to the moon goddess that appears a few times in the comic. But this is why I also wanted to draw the cross, obviously, because that really drew my attention. I know that the sights of the gun are not really good. It's too large. But otherwise, I think this is still one of my better ones, actually. But I guess it's still miserable. I mean, if you watch this, I'm sure that you can draw better than I can. Much, much better than I can. Mine is still kindergarten style from 30 years ago. Yeah, this is a part. I've chosen this one. The one in the right lower corner. Well, Ross, what I'm supposed to do? When she is, what am I supposed to do when she is freaking out once more against the world? And this is also a nice scene. I want to add this. Hothead Paisan actually says that I'm leaving, and then, her friend Ross asks, but where are you going? I don't even know if there is any place. Why don't you lay off the jet fuel so the coffee is half a problem? And then she says, Ross says to Hothead Paisan here, and what makes you think it's gonna be different someplace else? When you get there, you'll be there. So yeah. That's the problem. But then, of course, Hothead Paisan goes crazy and asks, well, Ross, what am I supposed to do? And this is what I've copied. Right below the Spritz Head car scene. Yeah, it's... I like it. I have to say that I like it. I have to admit that. But yeah, it's still... I mean, I have shown those to my mother, actually, and even she says that I still draw like a child, but she liked it. In fact, she liked them, but she's my mother, so she's maybe not the best judge in this. Okay, next one. Yeah. I told you already all about this. This really got most of my attention in the comic. And this was actually so big to me that I quickly remembered 347, the page number. And this, tell you this now, even though I did continue drawing, this one is my best to this day. Again, I drew this in, I think, October or early November, just a few weeks left before I actually wanted to commit suicide myself. And despite the fact that her boots are a bit too small, I mean, they are not growing in length, which they actually should. And I made a mistake here that I had to scratch out with my eraser. But otherwise, I think this is still my best one, and it has a special place for me inside this notebook. Yeah, I consider this to be my best and the most touching of them all, even without the text. But I know what this actually means, what she's thinking right now. Talking to God, wondering if she gets extra credits for not committing suicide because she can't stand it any longer. And of course, if you wonder, HH on her arm obviously means hothead. Those are just her initials. So, and then we have another one. This is where Hothead Paisan is, well, it looks like as if she's on television. But surely I can't be expected to love the knuckle draggers and other phobosaurs. Yeah, I just wanted to draw this for fun. Unfortunately, I made the mistake Hothead in my drawing is way too big. Yeah, and this is the result. She's a bit fat. Wait a sec. Had to drink some water, sorry. As you can see, she's a bit too big. And to make sure that people don't believe that she looks like a boy or man, I've attached some, well, breasts. And otherwise, I like the jacket. I think I was good in drawing the jacket. The face, well, I mean, the Hothead Paisan's face is
quite simple, you know. But I think Diane DiMassa really has. She's really an artist, you know, while I'm just an idiot, perhaps. Especially with the hair. Again, as you can see, the hair looks horrible and doesn't get better when I continue now. Uh, this picture you can find on page 169, by the way. Um, this one, this is on page 235. Hothead Paisan is sitting in a diner and she's disgusted because a woman is sitting behind her, and she is complaining about her partner, and Hothead Paisan doesn't like that. That this woman is complaining all the time, not because she's complaining about the man, but the fact, she can think of how this guy actually treats this woman, but this woman isn't very bright either. So Hothead Paisan is quickly disgusted while she's sitting alone in a diner. Even there she gets into strange situations, and well, this is the result. This is how I drew her, and despite the hair, despite the hair, I think this is also one of my better ones. So, I've shared those pictures also with an old friend of mine, and she said that one can see that I actually slowly get better at copying Hothead Paisan. You can write me in the comments if you think the same or if you have a different opinion. And if you write that my drawings look horrible and I should better stop, you can write this too, because I admit that I'm not good at all. I'm an author. I'm just not a writer, a drawer. I mean, I'm not an artist with a pen, except if I write things with a pen. But if I have to draw something, it's different. But I think I got her tongue and her disgusting face, her face that she makes with disgust. I think it's still good. But let's continue. This is the scene that I have already presented to you, where she is about to drink the double liquid dynamite and wonders why they call it like that. Well, I wasn't that good in copying her, but I really liked this, so I wanted to copy it. And this is the result. Yeah, the head, the hair, the face. I think the jacket and maybe the jeans are still the best. You can see that I made a big mistake with the legs. Hothead Paisan's left leg, which when we look at it is the right leg, is way too big compared to the left leg, because I forgot that there are some gaps at the left leg, which are already there in the comic itself. You can see this here. But I forgot this at the right leg, so it's the same size as the trouser itself, and this is the result. Yeah, and you find this on page 193. Yeah, it's not that good, right? Yeah. Maybe the jacket is okay, the jeans is maybe okay. The right shoe, which for us is the left shoe when we look at it, is maybe good enough, but yeah. Otherwise, not that good. And yeah, here this is a scene where Hothead is called by her friend Ross, and she is taking another coffee, very strong one it seems. I didn't drew the sofa and all, and I also didn't drew chicken. Yeah, but I obviously drew Hothead Paisan, and even wrote 7 on her shirt as it's written in the original. The telephone is a bit too big, perhaps. I mean, those ones that were born after the 1990s, do you know those kinds of phones? Can you actually imagine that they once had this, because they needed a connection. Yeah, they needed a cable to be connected to their base so that you can talk on the phone, and guess what? They have no WhatsApp, they have no TikTok, they have no internet connection, nothing. Yeah, younger generations, I'm just 36 years old, but I am a child of the 90s, obviously, so yeah, I know this. I know those phones, but we already had more modern phones. In kindergarten, we still had one of those kinds of phones to play with. but today you only find them in museums for technology. So yeah, I think it's not too bad. Maybe I could have attached the sofa, the couch on which she was sitting on, but I didn't. I just wanted to draw Hothead Paisan. And yeah, it's not my worst, but it's not my best either. And we have one left, and I just drew this 2 or 3 days ago. Make people burst into flames. I just wanted to write it. I just want to draw it. But writing, she has a book in here, and it just says blah 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 blah. Diane DiMassa didn't want to write anything. But I did. And now we get to the secret of why I say Amazon sisters, why I am using this term for women that love other women, because that is the term I use. Of course, I do this because I write since December 2016. I write my own stories about Amazons because I'm a huge fan of Amazons, have my own website about them, and due to the fact that they are all female, I cannot believe that they are actually straight like the ancient Greeks believed. I believe that they were strongly 100% homosexual or queer, as you would maybe say today. I hope that I'm right, because I hope that homosexual women also fall under the term queer. If not, then I apologize for that. So yeah, Hothead Paisan. I still am not fond with the hair, and it's not completely straight, as you can see, because she was like this, and yeah, the throat is maybe too big and all, and therefore the shoulders and all, it's a bit maybe too large. And as you can see, her right arm, which for us the left arm, looks crippled. Yeah, I was just running out of space. I should have tried to draw her maybe a bit smaller, but in this case, this size made it possible for me to not just draw the book or magazine or whatever it is, but also write something inside. And now, as you can see already, I don't just write blah blah blah. I really wanted to insert with a ballpoint pen a real text. And this is the text. And I'm now reading this to you because I think this will reveal to you finally why I say Amazon sisters. I mean, I have already described it just now, a minute ago, but I still want to tell you or read this to you so that you understand it, because my handwriting is maybe not the best. I mean, that is why I already used printed letters instead of letters in a handwriting way. But anyway, I'm reading this to you now. Amazons are all female. Therefore, they did hating them, battling them, and killing them with no remorse. Take the truth. The Amazons were not just the greatest female warriors that did ever exist, but they were all just loving women too. The Amazons were all die-hard homosexuals. Therefore, as the Amazons saw each other as sisters, it is only right among women loving women to call themselves Amazon sisters. The end. And this is also the end of my video. I mean, of the computer version. I will come back in a second with a final statement. And this is what I really want to show you. Yeah, so those were my horribly drawn copies, numerous of them. I will continue to draw. I don't think that I will publish them, but I will definitely continue and try to get better, although I don't think that I will. But tell you what, we're now getting back to the book, so I will start my mobile phone again, and then we get to the final minutes of this video. Thank you very much. Now let's get back to the book, and we have at the final pages of this huge edition, of this final edition of Hothead Paisan, you can say that,
there's an extra comic here. Unfortunately, the book is very heavy, so I really have to hold it with one hand now. I want to show you interviewer's note, because there was an interview with Diane DiMassa. She still lives in San Francisco, California, as far as I know. And, there's an interview. There are pictures of her from the time, here mid-1990s, for example, from some other magazine. Yeah, I'm sorry, I really have trouble with this here. This is Hothead Paisan, back with this girlfriend that actually had this idea for the I'm not your fucking spritz head girlfriend. Yeah, there's an interview. I just want to show you the final pages, just for the pictures, of course. Here's Diane DiMassa again. But what also, it's, as you can see, it's quite a long interview, and it's very interesting. Here she is with a cat of hers. I guess that's why she also had the idea of having a cat. Here she is at her drafting table in the early 1990s. But what I really want to show you or read to you is the final part. We have already, here she is again. Yeah, this comic really received plenty of attention. It also received a lot of merchandise, like T-shirts and buttons and stuff like that. But what I really want to show you, and it's one page further, is here. The reason why she actually suddenly stopped drawing Hothead Paisan, and the secret is here on page 455, really the final page of the book. And it's written here, Jay Gee is the interviewer. Last time I was up here, you said to me, when the anger died down, that's when Hothead died down. And then Diane DiMassa said, yeah, I had felt that I had done the material and I didn't want her to change, because I was changing and nobody wants Hothead to calm down. That's her job. A lot was shifting in my life at that point. And then the interviewer asks, what changed? And then Diane DiMassa says, get a bit more light here. She says, or answered, more years of sobriety, more coping skills, more learning how to get along in the world. Of course, the anger wasn't as sharp as it was in my first couple of years being sober. You can track it too. My drawings got tighter and Hothead got a little bit deeper. It became more well-rounded, with different sides to the story. But I made the characters around her express that, not Hothead herself. Yeah, so that is why. Diane DiMassa actually thought that Hothead Paisan started to change because a lot of stuff happened to Diane DiMassa, and it's an interesting story of hers, or her life story, you can say that. And yeah, unfortunately, she then decided to stop because she thought that she cannot continue with Hothead Paisan to be this wild and aggressive and crazy and violent as in her early days. Well, tell you what, I'm also an author, obviously, and I personally think that that when you create something, for example, when I write stories, I can see that on my epics that I also have changed. When I have started with my Amazons back in early December 2016, so more than 9 years ago now, it was also different. But, we all develop with our characters, with our arts. But I don't think actually that that it was bad for Hothead Paisan to become a little bit deeper. But I really believe that if Diane DiMassa wanted it, she could have continued. Of course, there's always the risk involved is if the series takes too long, if it goes too long, if it has too many issues, many fans will say, oh, that's not Hothead Paisan anymore, she's not the same anymore, and I prefer to read the earlier issues, the later issues suck, I mean, we receive those, we hear this a lot, for example, with the series South Park, there are many fans that say, "Oh, I like the old episodes far more than the newer ones." People always discuss about that, as they love to discuss about. But when I have read the comic, I was able to see that Hothead Paisan was changing a bit, but I don't think that she was changing too much. So personally, I believe if Diane DiMassa really wants it, she could still draw Hothead Paisan today in all of her former glory, maybe not with 90s references anymore, although I think they are still holding out today, especially in this crazy world that we live in right now, and it continues to get worse, it seems. But I really believe that if Diane DiMassa would try it again, I'm sure that she could do it. She could put Hothead Paisan in today's world of, the 21st century, and make her just as crazy and just as violent, and I think it would work. So Diane DiMassa, if you should see this video, which is 100% unlikely, but if you should, why ever, then as a heterosexual male, I admit that, I actually ask you to try it again, to continue Hothead Paisan, Homicidal Lesbian Terrorist, and to continue drawing her. Because I, as the author of Homosexual Amazons, believe it or not, really believe that you can still do it. I have also changed a lot during the past 9 years, but still I write my stories. I continue my stories, and so this means that I actually write on them longer than you draw Hothead Paisan. I don't say this to make you feel bad or something, but I say this because you could continue, and I'm sure that Hothead Paisan would still stand out today in our crazy world. And I really believe that you could do it. So if you're watching this video, and again, it's unlikely, then I hope that maybe you could just continue. Just give it a try. Just take your time, sit down at a desk and just, start drawing her again, and just try it and see if you want to publish it again. Maybe even for free if you'd like. You do not have to earn money with that. You can also make this for free if you want, But yeah, to me, and those are my final words now because this video is getting longer and longer. To me, Hothead Paisan, Homicidal Lesbian Terrorist, is so far, of all the comics that I have read, really the best comic that I have ever read. It's crazy. It's, of course, in some places violent, although not overly violent, I think. It's cool. It's pure anarchy. And even as a straight male, and even if you're white, like I, as you can see, you can read it, and, it's just fun. It's pure fun. And if you like funny comics, and if you would like to have a main character that is really getting at it, and is really going crazy, you should really give it a try. And, despite it's, of course, drawn from the perspective of an Amazon sister, everybody can read this. This comic is for everyone, actually. And, it's a great thing. And I think it's great that this comic series was finally revived in this huge edition, so big, and again, every single comic is inside. I think I think there's only one missing, I think, that they decided to not put in. But otherwise, everything else is inside. And or it was maybe just one page of some prequel or something. But they wrote this there. But searching for this now, where they actually state that would take me hours now. So, I really recommend to you getting this book, getting your edition, because I really believe that this comic is a lot of fun. And I just find myself oftentimes to just, pick it up and either, as you have seen, try to copy Hothead Paisan myself, or I just read a few pages or maybe a chapter again, or switch to my favorite scenes that I have already shown you. And because, the comic is good. And even though I already know what happens, I love to read this comic again and again. There are so many comics that I have read that I have just read one time, and then I just did put them in the shelf and then never to open them again, despite the fact that I've said they're good. But with Hothead Paisan, it's different. I pick her up, well, not almost daily, but every 2 to 3 days, I just take a look at it, into it again, laugh again, have fun. And so Diane DiMassa, thank you so much for all the hard work. I mean, drawing those, I don't know, maybe thousands of pictures. I mean, just copying a few of them already did make me realize how much work is behind all of this. This is crazy, and thinking of all the stories, thinking of all the scenes, and drawing every single one of them, plus the covers and everything. It's a lot of work involved, and with not many things to be needed for that. It's just crazy. It's so good, and I'm so sad actually that this comic in edition 19 stopped also suddenly. It's sad somehow, because I really like the comic. But this is it, folks. This is Hothead Paisan, Homicidal Lesbian Terrorist. Hothead Paisan, Homicidal Lesbian Terrorist. And my favorite comic from a male perspective. I hope you like this very, very, very long video of mine, and we'll see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.
Glory to our queen Penthesilea, who will crush Achilles at the city of Troy. His body shall be dragged across the ground. It will bring